Please rewind this cassette.
Well, this isn't good. Well, this isn't good at all. It almost makes you think, what the hell were they thinking? Maybe it wasn't a good idea to cast an 80-year-old in an action-adventure film. Maybe that was a bad idea, Disney. Maybe that was a really stupid, crazy, what the fuck is wrong with you idea. I mean, there's so much to break down here. I'll try to keep this concise and quick because obviously I haven't seen the movie yet. So perhaps I'm wrong. You know, The Last Jedi got good reviews, Force Awakens got good reviews. Even The Little Mermaid right now is getting good reviews. So maybe the critics are wrong on this one. Maybe this movie's great and they're saying this one's bad. Maybe Indy had to be the martyr for the Lucasfilm disaster that has unfolded over the last few years. I mean, $300 million budget, tons of reshoots, tons of rewrites. They had 4 screenwriters on this. Everybody was hoping because James Mangold was on this. He did Ford versus Ferrari. Come on, he did 310 to Yuma. He did Logan. This guy never misses. Well, it's not the filmmaker, it's the machine that you join when you sign up for projects like this. So this is just hilarious with everything going on with them right now. They premiered the film a month early at Cannes, hoping for great reviews that are going to, kind of boast the hype going into release. And then they just get shit on. They just get shit on. 50% on Rotten Tomatoes already. A lot of people are trying to cope already. I've seen online where it's like, well, hey, it's mixed. That means it's probably like a 7 out of 10. No, that's not what this means. Critics are on the side of Disney. Critics are on the side of franchises like this. They're on the side of corporations like this. There's too much history of it. But you've seen this downward turn towards the MCU and its reviews, where the movies aren't getting the reception they used to. And it's happening here now. It happened with Star Wars as well. By the point that Traz came out, they were just giving it bad reviews. Although there's a nostalgic rush in seeing Harrison Ford back in action, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a largely unnecessary franchise finale. So I don't want to throw any, Midnight's Edge stuff out there, but I do have a source inside of Disney, a very minor source inside of Disney, someone who works there, and they did tell me that they had heard from somebody involved with this project that a lot of the bad stuff that had been floating around about this movie's production was absolutely true. This movie's 2 hours and 24 minutes. Jesus Christ. It's already the longest Indiana Jones movie. And of course, we have Fleabag in it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. What is Hollywood thinking with this chick? She has one critically acclaimed show, and then they're like, you should write the new James Bond movie. You should be a voice in Solo. Hell, you should be in the new Indiana Jones film. She's not a movie star. People don't know who this chick is. I'm not saying she's untalented or uninteresting or anything, whatever. But I hate how they have these plants, these people they try to prop up. There's that other woman, Isaiah Ray, who had that HBO show where they're like, she's a star. I'm like, no, she isn't. She can't open a movie. Some of these people just aren't famous. I mean, it's pretty obvious this should have been a reboot. Chris Pratt should have played Indiana Jones. I think then this movie had a shot at making money and being a hit, or at least something new. Obviously, you need to reboot the franchise. It's insane to have It was insane when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, and that was Spielberg and Lucas. This is getting worse reviews than that movie. That movie got better reviews than this. That's how embarrassing this is. This can't even get like the 75% that I thought it was going to get. I thought it was going to get like okay reviews. I didn't think it was going to get bad reviews. So let's look at some of the reviews. Fun isn't the most accurate way to describe its excessive antics. There's never a dull moment, but all the globe-trotting hullabaloo does verge on exhausting. It's all pretty goofy and laborious over its 142-minute long running time. It counts as sort of a compliment to say that James Mangold's film, until a gleefully absurd ending, plays just like another episode in a creaky, unpretentious romp. But even that review, 3 out of 5. There's not even like critically acclaimed reviews. There's just like, it's a 3. There are needs being met here, but they aren't storytelling based so much as the stoking the fan base and meeting the bottom line ones. If this is the final Indiana Jones movie, as it's most likely will be, I concur. It's nice to see that they stuck the landing, sure. The music of John Williams plays again, and the adventure begins again without realizing that we have already been there. Okay. This is not my Indiana Jones. This isn't your grandfather's Indiana Jones. I liked my grandfather's Indiana Jones, by the way. An adventure that, despite stripping itself of all fan service air, feels simulated and forced. So we're saying an AI made this movie? Director James Mangold, stepping in for Spielberg, brings the character's adventure to a satisfying close, while Ford revels in reprising the role for one last hurrah. Well, there's a positive review. That's a good old review, 4 out of 5. A film that inherits the directing mantle from Steven Spielberg should know when to step up. It's about time executives realize that franchises can't be cleanly separated from the visions and talents of those who made them. The camera rarely creates meaning on its own, except when there's a familiar brown fedora somewhere on screen, at which point it changes towards it's like a happy pup reuniting with its owner, a shot that repeats on at least 4 separate occasions. Jesus Christ. Fine fan fiction, enjoying what makes most of the characters so special play out in new ways while very much embracing the past. When it works, it's excellent. When it doesn't, you'll still revel in the companionship of old friends. There are needs being met here, but I already read that one. There's so many chase sequences that the movie seems held together with a slender bits of plot rather than the other way around. Worse yet, they're so heavily CGI'd that some of us that come off as grimly dutiful rather than thrilling or delightful. The de-aging and other CGI manipulations of Ford's body only serve to demonstrate that the dial of destiny just wants to turn back the clock instead of doing anything new. It's a sad and safe ending for a series that once prided itself on big escapades and larger-than-life emotions. Dial of Destiny shows that some relics should stay buried. I love when critics try to have those like one-liners. I mean, this is just a bad run here. It's an improvement on the Crystal Skull. The jokes, the zest, and the exuberance just aren't there, so instead of a joyous send-off for our beloved hero, we get depressing reminder of how much livelier the past adventures were. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is dutifully eager to ultimately rather joyless piece of nostalgic hokum. One can feel 4 credited screenwriters grasping at the inspiration and coming up short. What they did manage to make would be a perfectly fine as a standalone adventure film starring some other character, but it's not worthy of the whip. The good news is that it's not as poor as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The bad news is that it's not much better. Yesterday belongs to us, someone says at one point. When it comes to Indiana Jones, yesterday always will. The problem is that it already did, and today feels like a complete waste of time. I mean, Jesus Christ. Some of these are just absolutely brutal. I mean, he's an old man. Be nice. This is like beating up on a senior citizen. Have a little bit of calmness. I do like that poster, though. It's a pretty sexy poster. I like that it's kind of a throwback to the Drew Struzan sort of artwork. I don't know. I mean, what is there to say? Another Lucasfilm disaster. Another badly produced project from Kathleen Kennedy. I don't think James Mangold was a bad choice for a director, but apparently he didn't do anything that separates him from another generic action filmmaker working on a franchise. The de-aging idea was insane. The time travel idea was insane. They didn't have a premise here. They just said, shit, how do we work around this old guy? All right, we'll just make him look young, and that's how we'll fix it. This is so stupid. It's just so stupid. I mean, this series ended in Last Crusade. Let's not pretend otherwise. Even Spielberg couldn't make another Indiana Jones movie that was good. So is it too much to ask a modern filmmaker to even attempt it? I remember Spielberg saying, "I'd have thought I was the only one that could make one of those." What a piece of shit. I mean, come on, Steven. Even Temple of Doom is better than this. I mean, this is just sad. You know, I'm sick of this old corpse of Harrison Ford getting brought out to try and salvage a franchise. They did this with TFA. They did it with Blade Runner. Here we go again. I mean, is there going to be a reboot of The Mosquito Coast where they bring him out again as an old man? Are we going to get a sequel to Witness where he's in his 80s and he has to go back to another Amish community? Are we going to get Working Girl 2, him and Sigourney Weaver? They're old now. Are we going to get another Jack Ryan movie with old Jack Ryan? Um, I think you could try to look at positives here. I just don't think they exist. I think it's trying to find a treasure that doesn't exist. I think Indy, let it go would be some good advice for the studios here. What sucks about this is that there was potential for a reboot or a continuation of this franchise that I do think could have been successful. The problem is this the nostalgia bullshit that they've been trying to cash in on, which they did rather successfully for a few years. It's just running out. It's not working on critics. It's not working on audiences anymore. Sure, there's Top Gun Maverick nostalgia, but that was a movie that didn't have a sequel come out to it for like 30 years. So it was exciting to see Maverick again. You wonder in your head, what's Maverick been up to for 30 years? Is he still doing the same thing? Where's the story going to go? You know, that worked. That was a fine piece of nostalgia. Even the new Mario Brothers movie, they've never really made a big budget animated Mario movie. So you go, I'm kind of interested to see that. I'd like to see these characters in this format. Certainly, it gets you more excited than the '93 film. This, on the other hand, I don't really know what they could have done. They had the property. I suppose they had to do something with it, but just make a short round movie. I mean, if you're going to do, I mean, fuck it. I still think a reboot was the right way to go. I know some people think you can't reboot Indiana Jones, the character, because Solo bombed, so you can't recast. I don't think it's the same thing here. Because you could make an Indiana Jones film conceivably for like $90 million. It doesn't need to be a $300 million CGI fest. It kind of is counterintuitive to what I think people liked about the original films, is that they were gritty and had these like nice staged action sequences. So I think this is going to bomb. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll make like $1 billion or $1.5 billion. Maybe I'm underestimating how popular this franchise is and people going to see it. But I don't think Zoomers give a shit about Indiana Jones. I think the only people that are into it are over the age of 30. I don't think it stayed in the pulp culture lexicon like Star Wars did. Mostly because I don't think there's as much of it, which is one thing I like about it. I think a lot of people aren't sold on the old Harrison Ford stuff. I think the trailers are bad. The only thing they really had going for them was if the reviews were great and there was hype coming out of Cannes. If everyone was saying, dude, this is a masterpiece. This is a great movie. 9 out of 10. Everybody has to go see it. But everyone's just saying it sucks and at best it's mediocre. So I just don't see a good way out for Disney on this one, unfortunately for them. And this is like a nail in a coffin situation here because of everything else that's been going bad for them. I mean, Guardians 3 is doing well, but that franchise is over. James Gunn's gone. He left the shit on the lawn. He's going to DC. What do they have? What do they have? Star Wars feels like they're done with movies. They keep saying they have movies in production, but until somebody starts shooting one, I'm going to wait and see. The TV shows have dropped off in the MCU and in Star Wars. And now Indiana Jones feels like it's dead. I mean, what do they do with this franchise now? I guess you could do video games. I think some video games would be a good idea. You do some Uncharted type thing. But as far as movies go or television shows, I don't think they have anything, man. So this isn't like it's woke, it's PC, they put a girl in it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going in that direction. I don't think this movie's woke or PC. I haven't seen it, but I don't think it is. I don't think that they're trying to force some kind of female empowerment message. Once again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll take it. But I just don't think that's what this was. I think this was just very cynical. I think it was desperate. And I think it just once again shows that Kathleen Kennedy, at least in a creative sense, isn't very good at her job. And certainly, I think they, if anything, waited too long. If you were going to do this, you should have done this back in like 2016 or 2017 when you might have been able to still cash in on it at that time. I think in 2023, who the hell wants to go see a new Indiana Jones movie? We'll wait and see when this comes out. Maybe people will go see it. I mean, I even struggle to think if this can open to 100 million. I really just don't see it. I don't think the tracking's there, and I don't think the hype is there. And I think, if anything, this was a rough day for Bob Iger when these reviews dropped. He's had a rough year. He's had a rough year. I hope he can take us hundreds of millions of dollars and feel at least a little bit better about his current situation. Goodbye, Indiana Jones. We had many good adventures together. And you'll always live in my heart as a positive role model, as a fun adventurer, as a relatable, gritty, cool guy that saved us from the Nazis. But yeah, as many of these reviews have stated, and I think it's true, I think it's best to keep this one in the warehouse, locked away. And it's better that way. Can't we just enjoy the ending of things sometimes? Can't it just be done? It's like everyone keeps asking Robert Downey Jr., will you come back as Iron Man? Can we just enjoy finality? Like life has an ending. That'd be peaceful. But nothing dies anymore. And it's not just because of the internet, and it's not just because like movies are in some weird mirror world version of themselves where we keep getting a copy and a copy and a copy of something. It's just, I don't know, people don't seem to have respect or integrity anymore. At least when it comes to things like this.